Hey everybody, beloved tribe. I just wanted to share a wonderful experience I had that kind of really opened my eyes as to what we're capable of as humans. And I had the privilege of meeting Dr. Michael Gross, Gross, visiting Maui from Washington. And he's one of those who has just extraordinary healing abilities. He has a lot of modalities he works with. And actually, this is his book, which it only came out like 6 months ago, The Spiritual Primer. And so I'm excited to read it. I went to a talk of his and I had a healing with him. So it's the healing I really wanted to just kind of share because it was, fascinating and really did the job. So he's actually available by phone, by the way. For it's $195 an hour, and he's able to get quite a bit done if you're ready to do the work with him. And so he knows how to access the Akashic records. So you're able to ask him questions, and he can give you answers from what he sees by looking it up in the Akashic records, and timing and yes or no questions and whatnot. So that was kind of fun just to pick his brain a little bit. Then he's trained in hypnosis, and I noticed when we particularly did the modality of soul retrieval, which I don't think I've ever done before, and it was very powerful. It reminded me a little bit of, there was some hypnotherapy to it and some also some EMDR, if those of you know what that is. It's a psychology method that one of my coaches used with me that was really effective because it works with the brain chemistry. And they end up going like this with a stick so that you can follow it with your eyes while you're accessing a memory. In my case, a trauma that I was trying to rewrite and reprogram, for the better. So I was able to go back in and access both right and left sides of the brain. And then I'm just naturally really psychic and in tune, so I'm able to actually work through stuff really quickly using EMDR. So I noticed aspects of that in his modality that he was using. He was also having me say affirmations throughout the experience so that I'm claiming the new truths and exercising my power to release things and call on healing, and which is one of our abilities to do. We just have to ask. You don't get unless you ask. So it's just a universal law. And anyway, what we were able to do is there were 4 boulders that we moved. 3 were in my early childhood, 2 weeks, 3 years old, 4 years old, and then 1 was from a past life. And I was actually aware of all 4 of these as kind of being milestones in my childhood that shaped me and kind of made an imprint, not for the better. That's why I wanted to go in and really work on them. And I have before, and I think that's what allowed me to just be able to pull them up quickly and work with them. Only it felt like we went a whole nother deeper level that was more complete and effective. I literally felt changes in my body happen when I went through the process with each one. I noticed certain chakras were just getting more spacious and clearing, and I felt a release in my pelvis at one point, and just this sense of more lightness and spaciousness where I was tense and holding a lot of tension, I guess, in those parts of my body. So I felt so blessed to just get to experience this, because what was fascinating to me about it is one of the best takeaways I had from it was, no matter what age I was, basically I was faced with a oh shit experience, like now what? What do I do now? We could call it a drama, a trauma, memory. And I noticed I just kept getting faced with, okay, this is happening. What do I do with it now? And what I came up with was I kind of have to have this moment of, you know what, this just is. It's not something I can necessarily change. And especially going back to these memories, I know that it really didn't change or improve. So going back now to these memories, I was able to go, okay, this just is. And now it's up to me to decide, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do despite this? What am I going to decide to do with my energy in moving forward and having peace with what happened, as well as having joy to move forward in a new way. So it was a really good experience in me locking in that practice, which I discovered in the process of doing it, which is why I'm sharing, that's so useful, which involves being in those, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening moment, or oh shit moment that we have throughout our lives, and some are more traumatic than others. And it's really kind of a test in a sense, or an initiation of what am I made of and what am I going to do about it and how am I going to proceed forward now. So I got to do that 4 times in this soul retrieval, and I ended up basically retrieving parts of my soul, so to speak, to reclaim those parts of me that had kind of fragmented because of the trauma. Because like I said, one of them was at 2 weeks, one was at 3 years old, and so forth. And that was unique too, because I really felt like I connected with myself at each of the ages that it happened, in a way that I could really feel myself at that age and embrace her and integrate her into me again as part of myself. And there was just a lot of love, self-love, that I noticed happened in that process. And, you know, for me, I noticed, you know, there's this acceptance that has to happen with what has happened in the memory, you know, the trauma. There is a certain amount of acceptance. Okay, this has happened. I can't change it. It already, you know, occurred. And now, you know, just kind of being at peace with that it's showing up for a reason. And that's, you know, having faith in God, that these things happen for a reason. Things don't just happen randomly. You know, to bring about an experience for me where I can grow and see myself as to how I'm going to react and move forward. And so I noticed when I got into the joy space of moving forward that there was kind of this, okay, well, I'm just going to be me then and move forward. You know, I'm not going to let these traumas hang me up and pull me down anymore and just go into my pain body about them. They happen for a reason, and I trust that, and I don't necessarily have to understand why or how and all that and analyze it. It showed up because it brought me something I needed at that time in my life to learn or whatever. And so having that knowing allows me to move forward, which means, you know, I'm going to meet my needs elsewhere, or I'm going to find someone else who you know, can experience that with me that I'm looking for. Or it might mean that, you know, I'm going to move forward in a different direction now that this has happened. Or, you know, to be able to basically take responsibility for my life after any trauma and be able to move forward with acceptance and joy and just make the best of it. I wasn't at peace about it before I had this session, and it seems like I would just go into my pain body whenever I would think about when those things happened. And it was sort of this sadness, like, well, how come I didn't get to have, you know, that loving experience that's supposed to be, you know, kind of thing. But, you know, that's the beauty of the mystery of life, is that we actually choose, and God also provides these experiences that do shape us for a reason, and we don't always understand why it has to come in a challenging form. However, it does really drive the lesson home a lot more when there's pain involved. And it's just the way it often shows up, you know, because it has to challenge us on and really get our attention for us to make transformation happen from it. So now that I've just decided, whenever it shows up again, I go, you know what, that happened for a reason. It made me who I am. It gave me extra abilities in this way that I never would have had otherwise, because there's always an equal balancing concept where anything, to the degree that it's negative, it's also that much degree as a positive. It's just we don't always see it right off the bat, and sometimes it takes time for us to look back and we figure it out. And we don't necessarily have to figure it out. Not necessary. The anatomy of why these things happen. It's really just good to know that, though, there's always an equal positive that goes with any negative experience. And it's kind of like looking for that sun ray through the cloud, which is kind of fun. It's like working with a puzzle to find, you know, the good in what seems like a bad situation. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, because what I've noticed is that I have been able to apply those same concepts to anything that might happen that is challenging. I'm able to go, okay, this is that oh shit moment. And what I'm going to do is accept it. It's here for a reason. I'm going to learn something, and there's just as much good in this experience as there is challenge. So I'm in good hands. You know, this too shall pass, you know, whatever my pep talk is for myself. And then go like, okay, so what do I want to do about it? How do I want to handle this? How do I want to move forward with my life from here on? Because this is where we get to be the manifester. And I noticed that there was this oh shit moment, and then there was this spaciousness, like, okay, what now? Like just this empty space that it's up to me to decide what I want to manifest from here. Because whether we acknowledge it or are aware of it or not, we're manifesting all the time. Most of it's subconscious. But if you actually are able to channel that into conscious manifesting, then how much more powerful. And so it's that moment where there's all this spaciousness and kind of this mystery, and like, okay, I got to decide what I'm going to create now, you know, despite what's happened or because of what's happened. And that's where I really got in touch with that manifester inside of me that is like, wow, you know, I really get to decide. I get to decide whether this devastates me or whether I choose to just see it as, oh, another initiation, and let's see how I do, how, you know, how well I pass that test. And I like that concept of, you know, getting to be sort of like the magician or the manifester at that moment in time, because, you know, what's showing up may be the opposite of what we actually wanted to manifest or choose to manifest now. And that gives me the opportunity to put that energy out there and picture what that looks like so that I can manifest what I want. Because part of manifesting is not lingering on the things that we don't want or that are negative, because then it just creates it and feeds that energy into that. It's so there's quite a lot of mind mastery and thought mastery that comes in with this, in envisioning what I do want and what I would like to see happen now as a result, and, you know, choosing to create something much better than what's showing up right now. So anyway, I hope that's helpful for some people. It was definitely significant enough to share. And like I said, if you're interested, you can reach him. TheSpiritualPrimer.com is the name of the book. And he also has drmichaelgross.com. And he does sessions. And, you know, some of you may not be used to doing sessions that cost $195. But honestly, to get rid of 4 boulders in my childhood, and I did whip through them really well, and I caught on to the process fast, so I was able to accomplish more. But how do you put a price on, removing big blocks that happen way in childhood that sometimes we don't even know how much it's affecting us, and to be able to work through those things or heal something in your body, because he can do that with you as well. And he has some amazing stories to tell about all that he's done for people, and he channels people from the other side and all that. So, it's like, how do you put a price on that? Because it's so worth the healing that comes, and the aha moments that come, and just the release of old baggage that sometimes we're having a hard time setting free. So it's worth it if you have if you feel drawn to that. And I'm looking forward. The book is about spiritual principles and practices that he teaches, and about how to stay younger, longer, and rejuvenate yourself so that you're looking younger and younger each day instead of older. There is such a thing, and there is a practice that is involved with that. And then he has other, affirmations and meditations and so forth that are a part of what he has really seen get results with people in their breakthroughs. All right, until next time.